Well, I'm off on one of my harebrained ideas. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I'm going to try it and find out. I don't really understand a lot about geothermal other than you get about 8 feet down. What I've read, it's constant temperature, 52 degrees. So what I'm going to try to do, what I am going to do, whether it works or not, we'll find out. These barrels, I have a bunch of these barrels. I got 3 of these that they're 3 feet long. So 8 feet, they're not quite long enough. I'm going to put a third one on them, duct tape them together, and set them down in the hole. Well, the top, maybe 4 or 5 feet, I'm going to wrap some insulation around it because that's where the ground is going to freeze. But down below that shouldn't. So I'm going to not insulate my bottom one. And my thought is to allow some geothermal, 50 some degrees, to come up through this cylinder. That's all going to be open. And I'm going to set my water trough on top of it, insulate my water trough, put a lid on it, leave enough open to where these 2 calves can drink, but all in the effort to try to keep this water open as much as possible. So I'll show you my pit, though possibly because of the shadows you might not be able to see it, but I'm between 7.5 and 8 foot at this point here. So this has been another good reason to use this old 3-point backhoe. Had kind of these thoughts in my head. That's a pretty deep hole. So anyway, I'm going to duct tape these together. I've got my Makita saw. I'm going to rough open a hole, top, bottom, except the very top one. I'm going to leave it closed for the moment while I set it in here and backfill so I don't put dirt into it. Then I'm going to cut an opening into it, and I'm going to put some hardware screen over the top of that hole so that little furry critters and what all don't get down in there, but allow that heat, the geothermal heat, to rise up. And maybe between the combination of a good insulation and some heat from the bottom, we'll see. I guess you never know till you try. Probably what I need is a battery-powered Sawzall. That'll be my bottom one. Yeah, it's kind of funny how I think, well, this is a round barrel. I have to have a round hole. No, it doesn't have to be round. I took the middle out of this one when I just cut the center out. The center is too big for that, so I took the center out and notched it. So I got some roofing screws here. Just gonna screw it together. That'll give me my 8 feet. That'll give me 2 layers. So what I watered these calves in all summer was a 300-gallon tank. Well, I didn't want to try to insulate and keep open 300 gallons. So I bought a 100-gallon tank, and it is a oval shape, and I think I can easily encase that. And I built this box. It's just from scraps that I have in my back room, kind of leftover remnants, and put together an outer frame. And I have it fitted for these 2x6 top frames so that this is only about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch clearance outside of this Rubbermaid plastic tub. So it kind of keeps it automatically centered up. But this is a process that I went through of building the insulation box for this water tank. Well, since this water tank is round on the ends and my box is square, I want to fill in these corners, one so that the cold air doesn't get in, and these calves are not the neatest drinkers. They're always slobbering, so I want to keep that out of this corner also and drain that back into the tank itself. I've had this old mat stuff around. It's an 1/8 inch webbing material, and I'm going to fill in these corners just to accomplish that task. So when I hauled this whole assembly out, I didn't take the camera with me, so I did just use my cell phone and I took a couple of shots. So this is the screen cover over this big tube that I have, and it's 8 feet deep. I screwed it to the top of these barrels, and then I insulated around the water tank itself inside this box, and then I just laid it over on top, so the back third of this tank is over this tube that's going to allow, hopefully, this geothermal to rise up. And then we hooked up a hose to the hydrant and filled it up. We've got a pretty stiff south wind this morning. Overnight we were at -4, -5 degree mark. So this south wind, which will bring in the warm air we call the Chinook winds, but it's kind of bitter this morning. I don't know, that chill factor's got to be 10, 15 below. It's pretty brisk. I got a shed put together. I've been revamping a little bit on this water tank. You remember I had the back lid, but since then I have added a front lid, and then you can see I've got straw bales around it. These rascals, they like to rub on these straw bales, so I've put up a pallet or so around it. Anyway, there was just a fuzz of ice on that this morning, maybe 1/4 to a 1/2 inch. So this insulated around the tank is helping. It doesn't keep it completely open. It doesn't take much to open it up though. So I come out in the morning, sun's not quite up yet, we're maybe 7 o'clock-ish, and open it up, let them drink, and when it's down this close to zero, I'll close it back up. And I come back out kind of mid-afternoon, let them drink again. But I'll show you a little bit more how I have this tank. So I did add a second lid here, and I can open it up and it'll allow them a place to drink. They haven't been real eager to drink this morning. They're more concerned about getting into the shed and out of this wind. You know, can't hardly blame them. This south wind is really bitter this morning. They don't seem too eager to come to the water. Kind of make sure they got plenty to munch on today. That's what keeps them warm. Yeah, they're not too eager to get out in this wind. They'd rather stay in where it's warm. Well, it was sometime after I had fed these calves that I realized that I had lost the mic. I looked and I looked and I dug through the hay in that feeder and I could not locate that rascal. So actually I had to come to town and download that video and watch it, and then I saw what happened. This mic has a really strong little magnet to it that you can put it inside your shirt, and this magnet holds it in place. Well, I've had this happen a couple times before. When I get close to something that is metal, that magnet will attract to that just like it did on this feeder, and it pulls it off of my shirt or my coat. And that's what happened here. So anyway, I thought it was kind of comical. I had to watch the video to find out where I lost it. But I did find it. Well, a couple of things I had tried to explain, not realizing I had lost the audio. One was how this frost-free hydrant works. The valve is not in the head of this hydrant, it's way down in the valve 6 feet below the surface that I put my 1.5" poly pipe to. That's where the valve is, so when this valve is shut off, it automatically drains all the water out of the standpipe up to the head. That's why it doesn't freeze when it is so cold like it is today. Second thing is, on the first lid of this water trough, when I got out there and I began to watch the snow and the wind, I realized I needed some type of a buffer between the tank, the back end of the tank, on that first lid. So I added some of this 1/8" belting to the leading edge of this first lid, and that helps stop the draft or the cold wind getting back underneath the back of the tank and helps the water stay a little warmer on the back side, which helps the water stay open more on the front side. So that was the second thing that I added besides the second lid, which I close up at night. So anyway, this is kind of the closure of this. I'm going to continue to watch how this works through the winter. When we get down colder than we are now, it's possible I may put another straw bale or two on top of the second lid for the nighttime cold. We'll see how that goes. This is kind of learn as we go. Anyway, appreciate you following along.